Okay, let's talk about the song Behind the Lines, which came out in 1981 on Face Value, but it also came out on Duke, the Genesis record, in 1980. Now, I believe, I can't get a straight answer. I'm 100%, 99% sure that Mike Rutherford wrote this song. Correct me if I'm wrong. And there's this great story. I haven't really heard like a actual interview with Phil or Mike telling this story, but they're playing back the reels, right? Everything was recorded to tape back then. So they're playing back the reels, and I guess they're playing them at a hyper speed because they're getting to a certain location or whatever it is. Maybe they're fast forwarding it when they're recording Duke. And Phil here is like kind of a hyper speed, like Behind the Lines from Genesis in this like 2 times speed. You know, it might be fun actually if you were to go to YouTube and find Behind the Lines, the Genesis version, and then where you can adjust the speed, go to like 2 times. I'm going to try that right now, actually. Okay, I just did it. Here's what you got to do. You go, don't play it at 2 times the speed, play it at 1.5 times the speed, and go right to like the 2.5 minute mark where the song actually starts. Like there's this big kind of like Duke intro, so to speak. And so when the song officially starts, which apparently there's like a version, an alternative version kicking around on some 7 inches from the day where it just kind of starts at that part where the vocals come in. So if you play that at like 1.5 times speed, then you'll hear what Phil heard, which was a Motown song. He heard like kind of those classic 60s upbeat records with the horns, and he maybe was hearing the synths now sounding like horns. And so this is what kind of inspired Phil. I think he probably even suggested in that moment, hey, we should do an upbeat version of this. But I think it's so cool that he ended up using it for his own album. I think it's the only time that we have a Phil Collins and Genesis song appearing on the different albums, that's right. But I'm so glad we did. And I don't think we needed any other times. I mean, there's probably some other cool Genesis songs that would have sounded good on Phil's records. We won't get into that today. But with Behind the Lines, I love both of these versions. When we get to the end of this video, I want you to tell me what your favorite version is, either the Genesis one or the Phil Collins one. I can't answer that. Honestly, I can't answer that because Behind the Lines is one of my favorite Genesis songs, and Behind the Lines is one of my favorite Phil Collins songs. Absolutely love the Phil Collins version. That's what we're talking about today. What I like about it so much too is like the track listing, and this is one of the reasons that I kind of speak ill of The Roof is Leaking, just because we have this great opener in the Air Tonight, then a kind of a mellow This Must Be Love, which is cool, and then Behind the Lines is just this like punch in the face, like a total wake me up. And I just wish that the record kept going in that. That's why I feel like bringing Brought Back Down on The Roof is Leaking always kind of like takes me out of this groove. Anyway, I love Behind the Lines. I love the horns. He was going for this Michael Jackson style sound, which it works too. You know, it's kind of that Motown-y. It's also got that Don't Stop Till You Get Enough a little bit. The drum pattern is like really syncopated, really, you know, it sounds simple, but it's super complicated in that Phil way. Very, you know, this is like the sister or the brother song to It Don't Matter to Me, and I Cannot Believe It's True. Those 3 songs, and throw I Missed Again in there if you want. Those 4 songs I could just loop on repeat nonstop. Those are the tracks I'm actually like practicing on the drums a little bit. I'll never let anyone hear it. Sounds horrible, but I'm having a ton of fun. And it's a great song. Okay, I want to know what you think about Behind the Lines. And I mean, honestly, tell me, do you like the Genesis one or do you like the face value one? The Duke version or the face value version? What's your favorite? I can't decide because I think Behind the Lines is such a great opener for an album. This huge like bum, bum, bum. And when they did it live, it was so cool. And then it like, you've got 2.5 minutes of this, and then it kind of vacuums down into where the vocals come in. And then it's just an amazing song. So you have this amazing intro, then you have this amazing song. But damn, the Earth, Wind, and Fire version, the Michael Jackson version on vinyl, on face value is incredible as well. I can't pick. So I'm not going to pick. I'm going to say both equal. You tell me what you think. But today we're talking about face value version. And I think it's a fantastic song, one of my favorites, and underrated too, because it wasn't a single. Now, you can correct me if I'm wrong, and you always do, and it's funny because I always say, oh, this song wasn't a single, then somebody in the comments is like, actually, it was a single in Jamaica for 24 hours. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe that the Phil Collins version was a single when Face Value came out. So for that reason, I think it's his like one of his most underrated tunes. It's a deep cut for that reason. A lot of people don't know it's a Genesis song, and a lot of people just don't talk about it because it's not on the radio very much. But I think it should have been put on the radio. I think it's a really catchy tune. I like it a lot. Let me know what you think.